And now moving outside Nigeria, South Africa's highest court has now approved the use of cannabis by adults in private places. And in sport, Super Eagles technical advisor Gernot Rohr to announce Super Eagles squad for the 2019 AFCON qualifier against Libya on 30th September. Many thanks for joining us. I am Rita Omodia. On our first story, after 8 years of low-key celebrations, the federal government has outlined a comprehensive program to mark the nation's 58th independence anniversary. Briefing journalists on the lineup of activities for this year's event in Abuja Tuesday, Permanent Secretary and Chairman, Independence Day Central Organizing Committee, Gabriel Aduda, said there were several reasons to celebrate, as Nigeria's freedom did not come on a platter of gold. Also justifying the anniversary, he said, in spite of diverse challenges which the country has been confronted with, it has remained an indivisible entity.
Killer of channels, why such an elaborate celebration at 58? Why not 60? I think we have too much to lose by continuing in the solo way we have done in years past. I made an assertion that I still want to repeat, that if you have a child that was born between 10 and 12 years ago, they wouldn't have a clue as to what independence is or the significance of independence in Nigeria. If we give this the widest publicity and we come up with these activities that are lined up, it will begin to raise questions in the minds of these young ones.
The week-long event with the theme Nursing Our Diversity for National Development kicks off from Tuesday, 25th September to Thursday, 27th September with a photo exhibition on Nigeria's national history with a sub-theme, The Footprints of Our Political Leaders. In another story, the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Bureau of Public Enterprises have formally signed the instrument for the sale of 21% of the federal government's interest in the Nigeria Security Printing and Minting Company, NSPMC, signed by CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele and Director General of the BPE, Alex Oko. The instrument transferred 12.69 billion naira federal government interest in the NSPMC to the Central Bank of Nigeria. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who is the chairman of the National Council on Privatization, who presided over the signing, said the achievement and the idea behind investing 21% public interest in the NSPMC was to bring synergies that could come from public and private sector together, especially in complex projects that require cutting-edge technology.
To the Central Bank of Nigeria. And I think that this is an important event in our privatization journey. Many, of course, will recall that in the last 30 years or so, over 140 publicly owned companies have been privatized. And this is perhaps one of the very largest that has been privatized so far.
CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele said the NSPMC is an asset with the capacity to produce currency and other sensitive documents for not just Nigeria, but also for the West African region.
In the past few years, before we came on board, the company unfortunately slided into a loss-making venture. But after we came on board, during this period, the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Mint, working with the Central Bank of Nigeria, indeed was involved even in importing currency.
Director General of BPE, Alex Oko, reported that CBN's strategic investment in the company was a success, achieving its objective of turning around the fortunes of the company and returning it to profitability. He said there were commendable indications of the progress recorded by NSPMC under the strategic engagement of CBN.
In compliance with NCP's directive, the Bureau warehoused 12.7 billion shares of the federal government's holding in the Mint with the CBN at a par value of 50 kobo per share, amounting to 6.4 billion naira.
Now, moving on, the Joint Senate and House of Representatives Committee on Electoral and Political Matters has concluded work on the Electoral Act 2010 Amendments Bill, which seeks to strengthen independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and ensure free and fair elections in 2019. This is the fourth time in 9 months the lawmakers will be working on the legislation following a series of rejections by President Muhammadu Buhari. The repackaged bill, according to co-chairman Senator Suleiman Nazif, is a consolidated version of the second and third bills, having treated the areas of contention. And now, the newly amended bill has focused on the sections on the use of card readers, still inclusive, as well as dealing with National Assembly legislating for local government councils. The committee assures that the National Assembly and the executive are on the same page with respect to ensuring heat-free polls. Meanwhile, Section 25 that deals with sequence of elections was completely deleted. The bill is expected to be transmitted to the executive after resumption of NAS from recess.
I'm a very good supporter of the president. But if I were to talk to him personally or directly, I would have asked him for a favor, kindly sign the Electoral Act. Because I know we had good intentions for Nigeria as far as the Electoral Act is concerned. But I think based on the advice probably he has from people, they were telling him of certain drafts problem, and which to me is
House of Representatives Committee on Media and Publicity, Honorable Abdulrazak Namdas, says the National Assembly, despite the power, has refused to veto power to assent the power, despite President Muhammadu Buhari's two-time refusal to sign the Electoral Amendments Bill. Namdas, however, accused opponents of credible elections of dissuading President Muhammadu Buhari from signing the new Electoral Act bill into law. Namdas said the Buhari-led government has done more in creating programs that will make the economy viable than the past administration.
We wouldn't bother as to who is contesting or who is not contesting. But for me, I've told you clearly that we are supportive of the governor, and we are not ready to change our minds as to who we are supporting. So anybody can come and try his luck.
While reacting to the decision by the president-in-law to run for governor in the All Progressives Congress, the lawmakers said they will stand behind the sitting governor and ensure he is returned at the primaries. In another story, Senate President Bukola Saraki and the former governor of Sokoto State, Atahiru Bafarawa, today took their campaigns to Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, with an appeal to Nigerians to disregard ethnicity and religious diversity in choosing the next crop of leaders. The two presidential candidates of the People's Democratic Party admitted that lack of unity remains the bane of development in the country.
Everybody here is voting for people based on maybe you come from one part of the country, what religion they worship, and what language they speak. At this time, shall be voted for people who have capacity, ability, and have the courage and determination. And that I have shown over the years, particularly not even the recent years, that one has that leadership to take this country forward. There are countries that have done well, have not done well by building leaders by chance. They are looking for leaders that are capable.
On his part, the former governor of Sokoto State, Atahiru Bafarawa, noted that he joined the presidential race to correct the abnormalities of the past, stressing that President Muhammadu Buhari and the All Progressives Congress have failed Nigerians.
Now, I decided to join the race for the damage control. The damage has been done for the nation, and I think it's a collective responsibility for everybody, a Nigerian, to get Buhari out of government.
The chairman of the People's Democratic Party in the state, Kumi Mustafa, and the member of the National Working Committee of the party, Dr. Sakaba Logun, hailed the competence of the two presidential aspirants, stressing that the leadership of the party should not intervene in the selection of candidates for elections at the state level.
As we know, the time in which we are now, we are at a time when our aspirants, presidential aspirants, are all out looking for delegates to have their votes against our national convention coming up very soon.
Warning, because you are closer to Abuja leaders than we are. Tell the secretariat to leave the states alone, to pick their candidates. Let us use our own accepted method to pick our candidates. Once they allow that, your state will be delivered.
Still to come, Gamade submits senatorial nomination form. Details of this and other stories when Galaxy News returns. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Galaxy TV News. For more updates and latest news, visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/GalaxyTV Nigeria. You can follow or interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/GalaxyTV, or tweet at us at GalaxyTV. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at @OfficialGalaxyTV. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comments. Still talking party politics. Former national chairman of the PDP, Barnabas Gemade, has submitted his nomination and expression of interest form to run for the Benue Northeast senatorial seat on the platform of the Social Democratic Party, SDP. The senator, who defected to the SDP just weeks after joining the PDP from the ruling All Progressives Congress, says his new party is an emerging force that is poised to break the PDP-APC dominance and the country's political equation.
In answer to the question of moving from one party to the other, that is part and parcel of democracy. Even in the oldest democracies in the world, like the United States of America, and countries that never saw military administration in their life, political parties that exist there still lose members to other political parties.
Welcoming Gemade to its fold, the SDP leadership says the party is an emerging force that is set to welcome other big-name politicians, including senators, in the coming days.
From my interaction with some of the senators, some of the members, more senators are coming to join you. We're happy to let you know that a lot of senators are on their way already.
Of our national chairman, and on behalf of my colleague, I wish to congratulate you because you are coming back home where you belong. You are a social democrat.
Captured is that the Social Democratic Party, like the distinguished senator said, was there before and it died. Now it resurrected. It has an internal life.
Barnabas Gemade is a two-time senator at the Nigerian Parliament and a former member of the Social Democratic Party, SDP. In the meantime now, the youngest presidential aspirant under the platform of the People's Democratic Party, Osifo Stanley, has promised to address the incessant killings, poverty indices, and corruption that is currently rocking the landscape of the country. The aspirant, who visited the PDP secretariat in Lagos to officially notify the party members of his intention to contest for the presidential seat, lamented the killings of innocent Nigerians and high poverty level in the nation. He noted that Nigeria is well endowed with resources, both human and material, but lacks the true leaders to manage them.
Then in elections. So the reason why we are here today, let me get back, is to meet with delegates. And delegates are a very important aspect and part of my ambition, my aspiration, and what I'm seeking for. And that is, I'm seeking for the votes of the delegates from the state where I'm contesting from Lagos State. So I want to officially declare that I, Osifu Stanley, am running for the office of president.
The PDP aspirant implored the youths not to allow AIDS to become a barrier in their quest to transform the nation. He noted that he remains a passionate Nigerian who is prepared to turn around the politics and governance of the nation.
Yeah, that is the truth. So that is the reason why myself, I decided that a young person is the solution to Nigeria's problems. I'm coming out to make Nigeria a different place. I'm coming out to give Nigeria good leadership. I'm coming out to make Nigeria better than we see it today. I'm coming out to make things work. I'm coming out to ensure that this country that we have today becomes the pride of other nations of the world.
Now, the wife of the president, Aisha Buhari, has charged women to increase their participation in politics by vying for elective position in the 2019 general election. She was speaking at the 55th anniversary and relaunch of Jamahaya Matanarewa in Kaduna, the state capital. Aisha Buhari, who was represented by the wife of Nasarawa Governor Mairo Al-Makura, assured the women of her support in whatever way possible in order to liberate them from the various challenges in the country.
Nancy has asked me to apologize for not being able to come here, and she wants to assure the women of the Northern Nigerian Extraction that she is with you 100%, and she will do anything to support this organization. In fact, she sleeps and wakes up with how to help the Nigerian woman move forward.
The representatives of the chairperson of the forum, Dr. Amina Abubakar, enjoined northern men to see women as contributors to the political class.
Would have imagined that women can convene a meeting of themselves, can speak to power, and can support the society with their visions. As such, I see her role in the establishment of JMA as a testimony come to pass.
Also, wife of the Kebbi State Governor Zainab Bagudu applauded the effort of Aisha Buhari to ameliorate the challenges of women in the country. Still talking politics, but now in Kwara State, as the All Progressives Congress in the state has sworn in new state executives with a charge that they remain united and committed to the development of the party. The state chairman, Bashiru Bolarinwa, gave this charge during the swearing-in ceremony of the newly sworn executives at the party secretariat in Ilori, the Kwara State capital. After weeks of defection settles down in Kwara State, the All Progressives Congress in the state has adopted the consensus option in picking its new executive. The state chairman explained that consensus was adopted to cement the bond between old and those that defected to the party.
At this juncture, let me remind you that this assignment committed into our hands as executives of the party at various levels is essentially a call to serve, and therefore we must give it all our all.
The former state chairman of the People's Democratic Party, who is now a Kwara APC stakeholder, Iyola Oyedepo, also appealed to the new executives to work together to rid out Saraki dynasty from Kwara politics.
That the assignment before all of us is enormous. We want to capture power in this state next year. And I want to urge that no stone must be left unturned.
Now moving on to Benue State, where the State House of Assembly has approved 3.5 billion naira loan from United Bank for Africa for the rehabilitation and rural electrification across the state. The Speaker, Honorable Titus Subar, made the announcement at the floor of the House on the request of Governor Samuel Ortom to enable him carry out these projects. The Assembly also announced the reconstitution of new standing committees after the dissolution of old committees with the new leadership of the House.
As per the speedy approval for the Benue to go into action, we are approaching dry season, and it's the dry season period that both construction can go on, and also the rural electrification.
What we have before us here, most of these things are captured in the budget. If we want to look at the budget very well, they are captured. What the plan need to do was to seek for loan, and they got the money from the bank and it needs our approval. That's exactly what the plan is.
Meanwhile, the Speaker finally approved the request of the Governor to enable him carry out the projects before election. The House was later adjourned till Wednesday, 19 September 2018 to also deliberate on very pressing issues. More stories coming up after this break. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is Galaxy TV News. On our next story, the Nigerian Airways pensioners have pleaded with Acting Minister of Finance to intervene and order the immediate payment of their entitlements. The retirees made the demand at the Ministry of Finance, where they protested non-implementation of the presidential approval of 45 billion naira for the payment of their benefits. Carrying placards of different inscriptions, they accused former Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, of keeping mute and refusing to disburse the said amount in spite of presidential approval. In their demand, they urged the new minister to look into the matter with a view to paying their severance and other benefits to save the retirees from untimely deaths.
We are just here basically to demand for the payment of our pension payoff. This payoff has been approved by Mr. President since May last year, and the council also gave approval in September last year and directed immediate payment. Till now, we are still waiting for that immediate payment to take place.
The Acting Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, however, promised to schedule a meeting to enable her get abreast of the matter, while assuring them that her first focus would be to start the immediate payment as soon as she gets the right hands on deck.
Again, let me be briefed, and then we'll fix a meeting. And now, of course, we'll have to take stock of what is possible in this year and then subsequently. And then we'll arrange for a meeting with your leadership. Not a meeting like this on the road, it's not a good one, but a meeting that will sit down on the table and discuss. We will show you also the challenges that we have, and we hope you will give us your understanding.
While back here in Lagos, parents, guardians and caregivers have been reminded of the pivotal role they can play in reducing the cases of domestic and sexual violence in the society. This was the main thrust of a symposium organized by the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team on Tuesday in Lagos.
Is that we have to go back into the homes and look at our parenting style and look at what examples we are setting up for our children. We also have to go back to the village concept. It takes a village to raise a child.
Sometimes we just treat things at the surface. We're not going to the root cause. And we believe that the family is the first institution for the society. So it's important that we realize the role the family has to play.
There are trends that we need to make sure that people see it as their responsibility, not just leaving it for the government institutions, agencies and all that. Even people within the home should take responsibility for making sure that conflict within the home or violence within the home is not acceptable.
It is everybody's business. It's not just the judge, it's not just the police, it's not just the case worker or the social worker or the sociology or the psychologist or the nurse or psychologist. Everybody as an individual, as a layman, as an expert, we all have a role to play. And we're saying that the family is the basic social institution.
The program was also an opportunity for the Lagos State government to restate its zero tolerance for all forms of sexual and domestic violence, just as a sexual violence survivor gave account of her experience.
The first one was 7, and then the worst one was when I was 13, because I lived with my uncle, and in fact it was like 4 months, terrible experience, and even when I left there, I moved to my father's house, and it would come to my father's house. It was that bad.
Between 800 and 900 reported cases of sexual violence. And we're talking of sexual violence against children, adults, children as young as 3 years old. So, and the courts are living up to expectations.
During the symposium, panelists took time to underscore the need for both verbal and non-verbal communication as tools for resolving disputes.
On this so-called subject matter of discipline,
we need to stop the focus on the girl child to encompass focusing on humanity.
The way you resolve conflict within home, children are watching it. The way you resolve conflict with your children, they are learning from it.
Have daily sensitization.
The theme of the symposium was securing the home against violence, everyone's responsibility. Still talking health matters, after weeks of denial amid speculation on the recent outbreak of Lassa Fever in Delta State, the Delta State Ministry of Health under the Primary Health Care Development Agency have confirmed the case of a dead Lassa Fever patient with others on their watch list. This was made known by the Chairman Delta Primary Health Care Development Agency, Dr. Isioma Okoba, while briefing journalists on measures put in place by the state government in curtailing the disease. Addressing newsmen at the conference hall of the Ministry of Information, the chairman spoke on the recent case of Lassa Fever.
And was transferred from the 18th, actually happened on the 18th of August, and was transferred on the 19th to the Kwale General Hospital in Nduku West. And the patient didn't do well and was transferred on the 24th of August to FMC Asaba. And while the patient was in Asaba, still not doing well, samples were sent to IROA, which is a center for Lassa Fever, for diagnosis of Lassa Fever. And the patient died and passed away on the 29th of August.
On the case of the dreaded monkeypox, she narrated how it got to the state from a naval officer on transit.
And, I would also use this opportunity to let you know that we also did have a case of monkeypox, but the case of monkeypox actually was diagnosed in the United Kingdom.
Meanwhile, the briefing by the healthcare agency have put to rest the speculation on the spread of the dreaded virus, which the health ministry said it has curtailed from spreading in the state through proactive measures. Still in Delta State, a resident of Ubeji community in Warri South local government area of the state can now heave a sigh of relief if a statement by the Delta State Commissioner for Transport and Works concerning the construction of the abandoned petroleum tanker road kicks off as promised. This is coming after subsequent government failed in their responsibility to fix the road, which plays a major part in the state.
We have experienced in the past trucks that fell as a result of this bad road. We don't want to go back on that lane anymore. So I have to see that this project is completed. By the end of October, we are going to mobilize fully back to site to ensure that this very session, which is the dualized section of the road, is completed.
On their part, the chairman, Warri South, and the contractor expressed their views concerning the road completion.
I want to assure them that just the raining today has, and now I talked with the commissioners about the work, and we already started, and they promised us even they will assist us.
Recall that over 50 shops were razed during a tanker explosion as a result of the bad state of the road last year, while all multinationals in the area have not helped matters. And now away from that to business news with Aidene Ekesi. Do stay tuned.
On the business and aviation industry regulator, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority said it will meet with the owner of the allegedly stolen two Bombardier -8 Q300 aircraft from the Lagos airport in court over the matter. Top Brass Aviation, a charter airline operator and owner of the two Canada-made planes, had dragged the NCAA along with other governmental and non-governmental organizations to court for the disappearance of the jets. The general manager, NCAA Sama Durugboye, said the agency would not comment on the matter because it was already in court. The airplanes with registration numbers 5NTBB and 5NTBC have been the focus of the legal tussle between the lessor Seagold Investment Limited and Top Brass Aviation Services. Some interested parties in the presidency allegedly acquired the aircraft contrary to the orders of the Federal High Court in Lagos. The two planes are reportedly parked at the General Aviation Terminal of the Murtala Muhammad Airport. They are now stationed at the aero contractor's maintenance and overhaul hangar, but with registration numbers already wiped off. The jets are said to be set for maintenance to enable them fly out of Lagos to an undisclosed location. The row is over a $12 million aircraft purchase deal with Seagold, which the aviation regulator allegedly got involved in by planning to forcefully allow the two planes to be flown to the owners despite a court injunction restraining the agency. In the meantime, the supervising Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, has formally assumed duties at the headquarters of the ministry in Abuja. Ahmed said she would bring her knowledge to bear to overcome the economic challenges facing the country. These, she noted, will be achieved through the support of the Permanent Secretary, Mahmoud Isduse, and the directors of the ministry. Shortly after her resumption, Ahmed had a meeting with all the directors in the ministry. Speaking at the opening session of the meeting, she said the Finance Ministry has over time been known to have very skilled personnel. She said the economy was going through a very challenging time, adding that as a key ministry under the economic team, there was a need for officials of the ministry to work harder to enable the country surmount the challenges. She noted that revenue generation had always been an issue for the government, adding that now was the time to come up with workable solutions towards addressing the revenue challenges. Earlier, Issa Duse had assured the minister of the readiness of the management and staff of the ministry to give her the needed support in the discharge of her duties. Until her new role, Ahmed was the Minister of State for Budget and National Planning. She was directed to oversee the Finance Ministry